When good intentions meet ice, lessons from Winter Storm Fern. Winter Storm Fern wasn't just an ice storm. It was an audit of Nashville's environmental priorities. More than 230,000 Nashville electric service customers lost power, and thousands of homes were damaged. What collapsed under the weight of half an inch of ice wasn't just wooden poles. It was a decade of political posturing that prized environmental optics over operational resilience. For 10 years, Nashville rebranded trees as civic saviors. The 2023 Urban Tree Canopy Assessment evolved from planning document into dogma, and legislation like SB 1101 literally rewarded homeowners for dense foliage, even when it hung over power lines. Directional pruning replaced clearance cutting. Trim cycles lengthened to preserve aesthetics. Fast-growing, weak-wooded species still lined every street. When 500 pounds of ice built up on those overhanging branches, aesthetics met physics. The result, over 700 broken poles, property damage up 1,300%, and a week of cold darkness. You can't plug your refrigerator into a maple tree. You can't tell freezing families their discomfort was a climate investment. The city called Fern's 330,000 regional outages unprecedented, but population-based data show otherwise. Our exposure has simply multiplied. Middle Tennessee's population has exploded since the 1994 ice storm. Davidson County grew 40%. Rutherford County nearly tripled in size, growing 180%. Williamson County doubled. This growth means more people, more homes, and far more vulnerability to power outages. If that historic 1994 ice storm struck today, the impact would be catastrophic. With current population levels, we'd see between 345,000 and 520,000 customers without power across the region. That's equal to or worse than Winter Storm Fern, proof that our critical infrastructure has not scaled with our population growth. When we rank regional storms by their 2026 equivalent impact, Winter Storm Fern ranks 6th, with up to 330,000 customers affected. The 2011 super outbreak would impact up to 585,000 customers today. The 1994 ice storm equivalent would affect up to 520,000. Fern isn't the worst that can happen. It's the new normal baseline. More people mean longer restoration times, greater pressure on medical and emergency systems, more dependence on electricity for basic survival, and more exposure of infrastructure built to 20th century standards. Middle Tennessee has outgrown its grid philosophy. This isn't about being anti-tree, it's about being pro-maintenance and pro-reality. Trees are valuable assets, but only when managed, not romanticized. A greenbelt becomes a liability if it strangles the power lines feeding hospitals and homes. Climate awareness is not climate resilience. The city claimed every dollar spent on trees returned 3 in benefits. Yet it never tallied the real losses. Cold nights, spoiled food, and millions in damage. Those are not externalities. Those are the actual costs of misplaced priorities. What we need to do for the future is this. Reestablish utility clearance authority without political caveats. Incentivize species compatible with rights of way. Treat the electric grid as critical infrastructure, not a visual inconvenience. Model storms using current populations, not nostalgic metrics from the 1990s. Rebuild with resilience in mind. Undergrounding where feasible, trimming where not. Winter Storm Fern wasn't nature's revenge. It was a stress test we failed because politics got ahead of physics. Environmentalism without engineering discipline is just sentimentality, and sentimentality doesn't keep the lights on. The next storm won't ask how green Nashville looks on paper. It will ask, did we learn anything?